we have our first home game of the season. We're playing the Buffalo Bills. Let's take a look at what their roster is actually looking like. Okay, so we have Josh Allen leading the way for them. We know all about his throwing power. He's dropping bombs from pretty much everywhere. It's his accuracy that's a problem, so maybe that'll be our saving grace in this game. We'll have to see. I would expect a lot of deep shots throughout the game, though. LaShawn McCoy, TJ Yeldon, Devin Singletary as the young running back of the group there. Interesting that they decided to only go with three. I used to do the same thing, but there's too much potential for an injury there, so I like to keep four players. Patrick DeMarco, taking a look at the receiving group, they're only going with four receivers. It's a really weird roster. Cole Beasley and John Brown, though, two undersized slot receivers essentially. But they've been doing damage. Zay Jones, and then they have Ray McLeod. So pretty much all slot receivers. And then Zay Jones, who he's actually built. And that's pretty solid. Decent catching traffic. Special catch is pretty great. Serviceable speed, route running, short route running's fine. Release is okay. Tyler Croft, Lee Smith, and Jason Kroom. So they got a pretty solid tight end core at least. Probably going to be some movement though. Lee Smith looks like somebody they'll move on from in the off season. Uh, Potentially Jason Kroom develops for them. Deion Dawkins, Quentin Spain. They've made quite a haul actually, and well, they've made quite an overhaul on their offensive line compared to where they used to be. Shaq Lawson, Trent Murphy, Jerry Hughes, the veteran of the group, rookie Ed Oliver. So we'll see how he ends up comparing throughout the season to our young guy Quentin. Quentin. Jeez, I don't know where Quentin came from. Matt Milano, Tremaine Edmonds. I really liked him coming out of the draft as well. Lorenzo Alexander. Tre'Davious White is the problem. So we already have chemistry issues between our quarterback and wide receiver group, and now we have to deal with them. Levi Wallace actually like quite a bit too as a very underrated player. Teron Johnson, Kevin Johnson. So they got a pretty good stable there. Micah Hyde, and then Raphael Bush. So pretty much my expectations throughout each season or each game this season is we don't really have any matchups we're particularly going to be dominant in. It's really just going to be about game flow. So I'm going to be really interested to kind of see what games we dominate and what we don't. Maybe we can try to find some kind of correlation there, and that'll really help us figure out draft wise what we want to do. I would say, trying to think who our standout player for the game may be. I want to say Quincy Enunwa, maybe Christopher Herndon, just because of the strong safety matchup. And here we go. First kickoff of the season. Buffalo Bills returning, and we take them down. So they'll be starting from the 27. Hopefully, we can make them run the length of the field. Darrelle Revis coaching his first official game of the season. And who knows? Maybe he can get our younger cornerbacks to play the way we expect them to play as a New York Jet. All right. And just like that, he fires one over the middle. They end up only picking up 4 yards, so nothing drastic. We'll kind of see if that ends up being the go-to for them throughout the game. Ooh, a bad miss and a juke there. Number 34. I believe that's Brian Poole for us. Okay, we get a couple free rushers. And we keep McCoy to a negative yard on his first run of the game. I'm curious what linebackers will end up standing out for us. CJ Mosley should be a given. I like Jordan Jenkins personally, but he's not going to develop at any kind of crazy accelerated rate. So this might be a season-long issue for us. Okay, a little bit of play action. They take a shot and they get that. I think that was a whiff by CJ Mosley on the tackle attempt there. So far, though, I like the way the game's playing. I think is balanced overall compared to when I had the superstar abilities on and the zone abilities and everything. Seems like it immediately affected gameplay. By now, we probably would have seen some fumbles, probably via Jamal Adams. I think I've racked up almost 16 in one season with him. McCoy takes off. He gets about 11 yards. So the Buffalo Bills are making headway here early on the first drive of the game. And LaShawn McCoy is just kind of free balling that thing there. So if we could pop him one good time, I think we might be able to jar that loose. More runs. This time we get another stop. I'm hoping by next season we'll take a look at that lineup and we'll actually be able to pinpoint, who's dangerous. Ooh, okay. So the middle of the field is going to be a problem. I kind of wish I would have watched at least one preseason game so I can kind of get a feel for how the Avery Williamson CJ Mosley combination went. Blake Cashman's definitely serviceable. Um, but who's to say Avery Williamson definitely wouldn't have outplayed him? Ooh, okay. We finally get in the backfield. Jamal Adams hurdling an offensive lineman. That actually might have been a tight end. And he gets his first sack of the season. Yeah, two bad angles. I couldn't tell who that was. But very Troy Polamalu-esque. I would take him back if he wanted to return to the Jets for sure. I don't know what the difference between how Seattle has been playing them and how the Jets played them was, at least when Greg Williams was playing. And the Buffalo Bills get their first touchdown of the season, beating out James Burgess. I don't know quite what the difference is, but rusher in Seattle than he was a coverage safety, where we didn't really have that problem with him. He'd get burned here and there. Of course, he couldn't really catch an interception to save his life, it seemed like. But you could definitely tell he was excelling in pretty much every area you can ask him to. All right, well, the Buffalo Bills march the length of the field. They cap it off with a touchdown. And the Jets aren't going to return. We'll start off at the 25 and we'll see what kind of noise we can make. Okay, and we start off the season with a sack. What else should we expect it? Maybe that's a bad omen on how things are going to go for us for the foreseeable future. Well, we have a long way ahead of us. A little Orlando Brown senior magic probably would have helped out quite a bit. This time we actually have some time. He launches, we get a receiver, and it's actually Robbie Anderson. He picks up 19 yards on a odd juke move. He decided to try to work out, but I'll take it. And we have a run play that goes nowhere. So we start the season going 3-0. And just like that, you can tell we're going to have a very exciting offense this year. um, man, we are going to have a rough go of it. All right. Well, the best thing we can ask for so far is that we're not letting up touchdowns and field goals every single drive. So we'll see if they learned from the first drive and improve upon their last performance. Is when we are getting pressure or sacking the quarterback, where's it coming from and who's producing it? Are we getting it off stunts or are we just beating people outright? And you seen there, Josh Allen is the person with the most accuracy issues. Has gone 8 for 8, 97 yards, and a touchdown, I believe it was. Okay, CJ Mosley came out of nowhere. Deep shot. It's nowhere to be seen. And we couldn't really make a play. Whiff on a tackle. Who's number 24? Is that Brandon Carr, I think? Deep shot. And they're able to connect. Believe that's Zay Jones. No. Okay, and just like that, that's the hope that we were waiting for. Playing around with the ball, Quentin Williams is able to recover it. We take it to the 37, and this gives us an opportunity to have some decent field advantage on the way to our second drive of the game. Hopefully he continues to make these same mistakes, and this will keep us in the game, at least give us a lot more opportunities to try to produce some semblance of an effective offense. All right, and we go -1 on his first carry of the season. I feel like this is going to be a pretty consistent thing where we're not getting too many positive yards on a play-by-play. Tremaine Edmonds just pretty much blows by Dimitri Flowers there. And he found that gap pretty quick as well. So guard spot is a major weakness for us. We just kind of try to find whoever we can. Christopher Herndon happens to bring in the reception there. Brandon Linder, the only person of note on the offensive line, and the only potential deadly concern is Robbie Anderson, but I doubt we're going to be taking many deep shots to kind of boost his numbers. So we take a shot there. He's not able to bring it in, and it potentially leaves us open to a turnover as well, with 3 other defenders in place nearby. All right, we kick it off. We're getting ready to end the first quarter, and I don't know if we've even cracked the 50-yard mark. The best play that's happened for us has been the turnover that they just shown for LaShawn McCoy. And I don't want to say that was luck, but he was already in the open field, and we kind of got some run-up speed. Ooh, that was potentially a problem. Cole Beasley catches one in the backfield. He made a move and almost took it to the house. Okay, we get a nice stop, but they're able to go for it. One of their receivers is down though, so this was the danger of the roster makeup that the Buffalo Bills are going through. They're going to be down to 3 receivers if this is permanent, which means more stamina burnout. Um, Hopefully that means more mistakes in the offense. Otherwise, they're gonna have to switch to relying a lot more on tight ends. But they haven't had too much trouble attacking the middle of the field, so Sean McCoy cuts one to the outside. He was able to bounce off one before Jamal Adams got in there. They're focusing on offense. This time CJ Mosley decides to get in there, and now Tyler Croft catches an injury trying to block. CJ Mosley already has 5 tackles in the first quarter. He's making an impact, definitely, at least in terms of securing these tackles. We can't necessarily say the best news since they already have a touchdown, and the only reason they haven't scored the other play was due to a fumble, but he's making his presence known. We'll see if that keeps up. We do finally force, I don't want to say in 3 and out, but we at least get them to turn over the ball. Darrelle Roberts comes up to make the stop. I wish I could point out being excited about at least a handful of the players that we have. It's really Quinnen Williams. Sam Darnold at the moment is kind of hit or miss, but again, we don't really have a roster around him. Um, Outside of Quinnen Williams, I mean, maybe Perry Nickerson. Other than that, everybody else is going to have to be dragged in. I'm not considering Brandon Linder at the moment, only people we originally started with on the roster. Now, with that said, Brandon Linder is definitely an option that I think it was a good move to make. Now the question is, I know how bad the offense is, but how productive would Ty Montgomery actually have been with a solid five in front of him? Taking a look at some of these run play stops, and it's really open people coming in and making plays, or unblocked people, I should say. All right, we drop back again, and he catches Jamison Crowder, Quincy Enunwa, I think that is. Okay, Jamison Crowder with 82. I thought he had a different number for him. Either way, though, we catch Jamison Crowder out near the outline markers, and he's able to produce 20, maybe 22 yards. So any of the plays that we've had that have been any kind of success, we've had time in the pocket. We actually finally get somewhat of a positive play there. But we have time in the pocket, and it's taken a while for either the cornerbacks to make a mistake, coverage to collapse, or just in general for the play to develop. So we do a delay handoff there. It's not the most successful play, but we probably just barely eke out a yard, but not enough for it to change the down and distance. So we're looking at a 3rd and 7. This is going to be one of the biggest focuses that we look to accomplish as the season progresses, with either any last minute trades or just as we prep for the draft, is that I want to make sure our opportunities on 3rd down are a lot shorter. We're finally able to convert, and this is on the back of Quincy Enunwa. He gets 10 yards, and we're at the halfway mark, so hopefully this is a good sign of things for us as we're finally kind of getting a feel for the flow of the game, and hopefully we can take advantage of getting more turnovers and things, to be honest. Okay, we go with a play action. We get some decent blocking. We do find a receiver. Okay, play action working. We take a shot there in the middle with Quincy Enunwa. He's not able to drag it in as the coverage was pretty airtight. We're dropping back to pass quite a bit, testing some things. We make a move, and Jalen Moore there trying to show, Eli McGuire trying to show why he can contribute moving forward. We take a quick shot to the flats on 3rd down. We don't quite get enough yardage. Ty Montgomery's falling just short. And we will have to settle on a field goal on our best drive yet. Now, one of the most underrated parts, I think, not only in real life, but in Madden itself as well, is being able to have a solid kicker. And we come out with a trick play to secure our first touchdown of the season. This is very Jets-like. So that was Trevor Siemian finding Herndon on what was probably an out route, and he's able to take it to the house. How much of a Jets-like season is it that the backup quarterback scores a touchdown before the starter does? The storylines just never get less crazy with this. Backpage, I'm sure, would have quite a bit of fun with that. But we do tie up the game, 7-7. Oh, did they give it to Darnold? I might have missed it if that was him there. We'll have to check the stats. when the game ends for sure. But I could have swore that was Trevor Simeon in that package there. All right, momentum shifting our way just a bit. We caught him sleeping. And boom, Quentin Williams slips the offensive lineman, and he pretty much bear hugs right in the middle of the face. Nice bit of block shedding there. And this is something I think we'll see him consistently be able to do as he progresses throughout the season. All right, they're still able to do quite a bit of dancing around, which I don't necessarily care to see, but at least the games are becoming more minimal. Middle of the field there again, but Jamal Adams lays the wood, and Lee Smith is probably going to be seeing stars a bit. He was able to kind of bounce up, but yeah, Jamal Adams is looking to pop people. So what I can say is while we're giving up hits in the middle of the field, Jamal Adams is pretty much ball hawking all of those. So hopefully he can continue to be a presence there, play that enforcer role for us, and make them kind of double think catching that ball. We do a return, and we actually are able to slip from two people before we get a little bit too fancy back there. But we do pick up a couple yards, starting off at the 21. They might as well have just kicked the ball and had us start from the normal point. So we're going to need to travel the length of the field here. All right, trying to go back to more of a run approach, stay balanced. However, our running woes are essentially the same. So the first half is going to be probably nothing to speak home about. Players are pretty much immediately in the backfield on a lot of these delayed handoffs, and for the ones that aren't delayed, we're finding open defenders, and the running backs aren't able to make a move in enough time or break free. The angles are also a little bit strange, so I can't. I'm not even actually fully positive if we have any positive yardage from any of them. Weird play for us. We do a delayed handoff on the 3rd and 11. And that, just like every other play, pretty much gets swallowed up. All right, we're looking to see if we can stop them from going too much farther from the 30. Hopefully we can get a 3 and out. Okay, a little bit of a little bit of maneuvering there. I think CJ Mosley may have the potential just based on how long the opponents will probably be winning the turnover battle and just kind of his instincts on the field. He might give us 10 to 13 tackles a game. Blake Cashman's gotten 4. They They go to attack the outside, and they couldn't get enough to convert. Plays like that, I would like to see something done about in Madden. We know in real life that, I mean, unless they were extremely close to that line, they're going to make a move to, grab that quick extra yard or two if they're off balance. If they're not, they should be able to just cut right up field. We do essentially luck out. We get our wish. We get a 3-and-out, but we get terrible field position as the punter gets the magic touch, putting us at the 6-yard mark. We come back out on the field. I got a feeling that we'll probably try to run our way out on at least two of these plays, um, or potentially start off with a play action. And we try to take it up the middle. At least we fall forward for a few yards, and that gives us 2nd and 5 to go. A little bit more breathing space back there. We take another run, and so far the prediction's pretty spot on. Two of our plays so far are running plays as we go down to the 2-minute warning. And now we can get into our 2-minute offense. So maybe that'll kind of help adjust the pace, give us a little bit more creativity here. Darnold's dropping back. He does find the outside mark, and that's Quincy Enunwa for us. 15 yards so far in the first half on 2 catches. I think the success there was just the fact that they played off the marker so far. Doesn't really seem like we have too much sense of urgency for this to be the 2-minute offense. He takes a shot. Not only is it behind, but they did have the opportunity to potentially intercept that and take it straight to the house. Okay. Not sure where he was throwing it to this time. I thought we had a deep shot for what looked like somebody streaking down the sideline a bit. Somebody in the face. There's a fumble. I'm not sure why we didn't have the opportunity to try to run off with that. I don't believe anybody was touched. But at least we don't get a turnover here with less than 10 yards to go from our own end zone. So we punt it, get a chance to potentially stop the Bills from being able to get any last minute points before the half. And they are going to start from the 38-yard line. Deep shot. They do connect, and just like that, they're at our 27. They burn a timeout to stop the clock. And this is what this is going to be a very long season for us. Most likely on our way to earning the top draft spot. They convert 9 more yards there, essentially. They might try to target the end zone. They connect over the middle again. They can hold. Okay, they decide to use the timeout. They could have held on to it. We'll see if that decision comes back to bite them. I know Madden has had some weird quirks here where they won't line back up or they'll do something strange to where time runs out on them. They're not finding anybody. He's moving around a bit, and we end up getting a sack. And this is a little bit of what I mean. Steve McClendon, of all people, the clock runs out, and they waste their opportunity to at least go up 3 points on us. So we finished the first half. I believe we got 2 sacks. We might have 3. Quentin Williams has one. Steve McClendon just picked up his. Q might actually have two, but you can see the vast difference there. Our offense didn't even hit 100 yards in the first half, let alone getting anywhere towards the average of 300 on a normal offense in Madden, probably closer to like 4. Division rivals, they're actually doing fairly well against the Ravens. We'll see if they pull out the win. Carolina versus the Rams, and Jared Goff is doing a number on that Carolina's defense right now. And Eagles versus Redskins. Alex Smith coming back. Try to play that comeback player of the year role, putting up 2 touchdowns. Wentz was having a pretty solid day himself, though. You can see that running style from LaShawn McCoy. It's going to cause some trouble. Oh, did that say Beathard? Was that our only touchdown of the first half? Beathard. I don't remember us having a Beathard anywhere. We'll have to see who actually got that touchdown. All right, let's see if Sam Darnold can't rally the troops for a much better second half. Okay, quick hit. We find Quincy Enunwa running a slant. I believe he picked up maybe 14 yards. Now, Quincy Enunwa has a little bit of deceiving speed, but once he gets the ball in his hands, you can tell that he's not going to burn through too many defenses. Okay, a little bit of play action here. Can't find anybody. And another sack. Lorenzo Alexander comes in. He does his work. Maybe a little bit of taunting there to Sam Darnold's face. You can see one person breaking free, dropping back into coverage. We try to stop one rusher, and the other one just goes unpicked or unblocked. Right, we go with a run play. We make a little bit of a move, pick up 2 yards. Elijah McGuire finally in positive yardage at least, although it took 7 rushing attempts. Okay, awkward play action. Believed we picked up maybe 4 yards there. He gets 10 receptions on the season, 10 yards on 2 receptions on the season. I don't think we'll be breaking any rushing records this time around. All right, we start our second half with it's not a 3 and out, but it may very well have been. And this time we get an excellent bounce. We get them to start off at the 4, and hopefully the defense can put a bit of pressure on them and make something happen here. 15 of 16 for 188 yards and 1 touchdown. So let alone whatever our offense is doing, it's a little bit concerning that the defense is getting torched by the likes of Josh Allen when we still have to worry about Brady. We get a hit on Josh Allen, but we weren't able to bring him down. But we still got to worry about Brady. I'm sure there's going to be some other legendary arms on the hit list for us this season. We get a nice stop there. Ja'Kai Polite, his first tackle of the season. It comes it comes in the second half. Makes you wonder where he's been all game. We've been hoping that with his solid finesse moves, he'd be a pretty good contributor for us. False start saves us a bit. They're going to be right at the one. This would be the time where I'm comfortable with them sending some kind of blitz package. Running play comes in, and at least we get the stop. So they'll be punting as we exchange bad offenses to start the second half. Blake Cashman saves us a bit there. Okay, we get a bounce in our favor to let us start from the 20. So far, my predictions, at least about how we're performing, have been spot on. I can't even say that we have any standout performers for the offense, though. Whoever the magical quarterback was that decided to throw that first half touchdown, we put on a little bit of a move there. Ty Montgomery, probably the best run of the day so far for 7 whopping yards. Okay, another delayed handoff, and we return back to normalcy there. 3rd and a 5. Will we finally be able to convert another third down, or will we be turning the ball right back over to the Bills? What I can say is I do like the rotation we've been having at running back so far. Um, Carries are pretty evenly throughout. We've had almost every running back, I believe, at least be able to get a hand on the ball. Sam Darnold is able to make a conversion here and on a middle to deep throw of the field. So far, Quincy Enunwa has seemed like he's been the most successful pass catcher for Darnold. Robbie Anderson's had some potential to flash, but other than that, that's all it's been. We need to see a little bit more production and a lot less potential. Okay, coming out of the backfield, quick hit. Now with Quincy Nunwa being the 2, I wonder if it's just the fact that he's coming off the right side. Maybe that's Darnold's preference, the way he looks. We catch one over to the left, and that's Herndon there, giving us another conversion. That might be something for us to consider as well, where he's targeting alongside the field. Delayed handoff. We get 1 positive yard out of it, and that will be all. Okay, middle of the field, Robbie Anderson puts on the burners just a bit. He's able to take what could have been a short conversion and pick up maybe 8 yards additionally from where I expected him to get caught. That would be the one thing. If we can incorporate Robbie Anderson a lot more, get him in an open field, getting some of those catches, he can potentially take those to the house if he can just outrun people. Okay, a little bit of movement in the pocket. We finally know what in the middle of the field again, and he gets us back. Those 5 yards we lost due to the false start and a little bit more. Okay, Sam Darnold's finding his groove. We're hitting receivers. We see there Deontay Burnett, the USC connection. He gets 30 yards so far in his debut game, and he's making some things happen. I think it might have been a solid choice to have him as the 4 there. We could have went with one of our veterans. But if we know they're not going to stay and this season's going to be a wash anyways, it feels like it behooved us to take advantage of trying to develop whoever we can. Empty backfield. Sam Darnold's looking. He targets. And we almost make a very spectacular play in the end zone. I think that was Ty Montgomery being targeted there. They're letting Sam Darnold let it rip. That's McGuire. Okay, so we tried to target McGuire on back-to-back plays in the end zone, and there he gives us 8 receiving yards. 3rd and 2. We are passing again. Sam Darnold. He gets it done, and his first touchdown of the season goes to Deontay Burnett. And Burnett picks up his first touchdown of the season. So, ironically enough, lack of weapons, lack of offensive line, and we decided to just start letting Sam Darnold let it loose. That shows you just a very small glimpse of potentially what the offense could have been. We did a lot of different things on targeting some people out of the backfield, taking some shots deep, finding people in the middle. We had some comeback routes that worked efficiently for us. That's about what I expected. And in Darrelle Revis' debut game, it hasn't been pretty, but we get our first lead of the season, which I wasn't sure would have been an actual possibility. Let's go. First touchdown of the season. Hopefully we get many more. LaShawn McCoy this time able to pick up a pretty good chunk of yards. Coming up on a 2nd and 1. And the pressure's on Buffalo this time to kind of make something happen again. Okay, they get the conversion there. Quinnen Williams was actually dropping in coverage in that case. My concern is going to be how do we stop some of these QBs from just tossing it left and right on us. Obviously, we didn't put together the best linebacking core that we have, but we made smart use of the resources that we did get, and for the moves we didn't make, I think we made the right call. I'm still only at this point willing to go. We can make it through the season with the receivers we have now. Orlando Sr. would be the only one I'm willing to go back and potentially keep looking at for trade options. And that could have been a dangerous play. They had a lead blocker. Granted, it was Cole Beasley. But if they got the right block and the right kind of pick there, they potentially would have sent that straight to the house. I think we get an offsides. And that's LaShawn McCoy, I think, that kind of knifed through and found a little bit of a pocket. So they had free yards coming either way. And that's Quinnen Williams making a rookie mistake there. Now he's flashed a little bit, but he hasn't consistently shown up on any of the stat sheets so far. So we'll see if he makes any more impact plays. But he's been serviceable. 1st and 5. Darrelle Roberts goes down. So he was our number 2 cornerback. This changes things a bit. That's going to end up bumping up Brian Poole, which puts Perry Nickerson at the starting spot, and he's going to the tunnel limping. That's not a good look for us. Now, I don't mind Perry Nickerson actually getting more snaps because of it, but we don't have the starters nor the depth to really be able to afford injuries. They find a player in the middle again, Jamal Adams coming through with that firecracker mentality. As soon as we get a touchdown, the Buffalo Bills offense gets inspired, of course, and it's looking like they might be able to convert. They did the first drive of the game. Luckily, we had a decent 2nd and 3rd quarter. 2nd quarter due to the backfield. And just like that, easy work for them. Lee Smith ends up making up for the fumble that he had earlier in the game, and he gets them their second touchdown of the game. Simple little curl route there for them. Well, we potentially tie up the game here, minus something crazy happening. And we look to see. Now, these are some of the same flashes that we've been yards, I believe 98 total, rushing and passing, going to crack the 200 total yard offensive mark. Sam Darnold finds his boy there once again. Jamison Crowder going down with the injury, though. He's our starting slot. We don't really have any significant players behind him, which means Deontay Burnett's about to get another boost in playing time. Now he's holding his wrist and he's going to the locker room, so that potentially can be serious as well. Dropping back, Sam Darnold's continuing to let loose. He connects with Anderson there. He only picks up 2 yards. Robbie Anderson 3 for 35. Play action. Another simple drop down into whoever's open. In this case, Chris Herndon. Okay, little maneuver to his left, and he finds on the left side Deontay Burnett. Burnett was looking like a very smart choice for us to not only keep on the roster, but to let him work in that fourth spot. And he's moved up to essentially the slot role with Jamison Crowder going out. And he's been having a game. He scored the first touchdown of the season for us. Well, Herndon scored the first, but as far as our wide receiver group goes, that's all him. Play action, we don't find anybody, and once again they get to us. This time it's Shaq Lawson, and this might be the 5th sack of the game, I think. I know Alexander has 2 himself. Shaq Lawson just got 1. Jerry Hughes has 1. And I believe there may have been 1 from Tremaine Edmonds. Second and 21. We decide to drop back again. We're going to target out of the backfield Elijah McGuire. Let him try to make up a couple of those yards. We still got a 3rd and 15, so at least at the moment, if we get a few more yards, we'll still be in field goal territory. This one bounces off the helmet of Deontay Burnett. That potentially could have got converted if he was able to make a move. Got a decision to make. Not the best leg on our kicker, but serviceable. I don't know if he'll be able to make it from this distance, though. And we are going to go for it. Now, I did think before that we were going to make a kick earlier, and that ended up being the kick play for us. They come in, they get an easy block, and they might run it back on us, and just the luck that we have. Buffalo Bills stop the kick, and they get a defense on a, they get a touchdown on a special teams play. This might be how we lose the game, folks. That was a tough one to see. Just like that, less than 10 seconds, they're able to take advantage. Momentum shifts their way. And we know our offense isn't the most dominant in the league. So it's hard pressed anytime that we go down that we'll be able to come back from it. If nothing else, though, I am proud of the success that we've had overall. Um, Tre'Davious White having a bit of an off game. It's not like he's getting torched, but still, I wasn't expecting Robbie Anderson to even get as many catches as he got. So starting off at the 25 for us, and this is really going to determine if we're going to stay in the game here or not. This drive right here is going to pretty much be everything for us. By the time, but okay, we caught up in yardage, but yeah, by the time that we either finish this drive or we do a 3 and out, they'll get the ball back and they'll probably be able to waste a good chunk of time. We actually get a fair amount of time there, and we find Quincy Enunwa. He's padding his stats a little bit. 6 receptions, 59 yards. Debut of the game. And that's Tremaine Edmonds there that was able to shoot out like a cannon at us. He racks up 8 tackles so far. We try to play to the outside. We aren't able to pick up the block in time. Montgomery gets blown up in the back of the field. So just like that, we're going to be turning the ball right back over to the Buffalo Bills. They are going to be trying to munch the clock out, and we may have a opportunity, depending on if they convert or not, to see if we can at least take this to overtime. And we get a bad bounce. They are going to start from the 20. 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 2 incompletions. Now, one of the things I can say about the way I want to construct this roster is I'm not necessarily worried about the cream of the crop in the league. They take a deep shot, and we actually play that one pretty well. Potential to have that intercepted as well. The roster that I'm constructing, I really want to play to as many strengths as we can build. So we get a nice stop there. But in terms of comparing us to anybody, I'm really only worried about the division. If we can win the division, we can make it to the playoffs any given season. Deep shot in the middle of the field there, and we actually get a 3 and out in under a minute. This gives us the opportunity to get the ball back in our hands, see if we can't make some splash plays happen. We might have to resort to some trickery again, but this was more of a result of Jamal Adams coming in, crushing some bones real quick, rather than any kind of secure coverage or anything like that. So just a tad bit short in the game speed department there. But as we continue to progress, hopefully they play together better as a unit. Okay, we make a move. And that's one thing we've been able to do so far. Hasn't translated to crazy success, but we've seen the ability in the open field from our punt returners to be able to kind of at least get by the first 1 or 2 tacklers. This is part of the reason why I also like getting a lot of those late picks. I can really focus on just physical attributes where I know special team players are probably going to be stuck at. Sam Darnold dropping back. We look for a screen option. We just get by. And Elijah McGuire almost secures a brand new set of downs for us. We'll be looking at 2nd and inches. Delayed handoff. Free rusher again. And once again, we have a failed running play. 4th tackle for the loss of the game for Oliver Jr. So yeah, he's having a much better impact on the game than Quinnen Williams is. But keep in mind, we originally were planning to play him at tackle. Due to some of the trades and things we made, we started playing him on end. His overall did come down just a bit. And it's going to be a bit more of a learning curve, completely different defense. We try a fullback run. Dimitri Flowers is only able to get back one of those 2 yards that we lost. So we have a decision, and we pretty much need to go for it. I doubt we're going to have an opportunity to go 3-and-out again. You can see the blocking there. He was trying to run behind the guard, and we just didn't have the skills. We don't try to get the conversion and actually opt to do the punt. So we are relying heavily on the defense here. Hopefully, LaShawn McCoy does what he did earlier, and we can get him to fumble again if he gets in the open field and decides to try to get a bit fancy. Okay, Josh Allen dropping back, finds one over the middle. Play clock does not stop CJ Mosley making the tackle there. Okay, we get a nice stop there in the middle. We've had a few different opportunities for interceptions, and we just haven't made those plays. They attack the middle of the field again, and I believe that's Lee Smith, as he's able to make the conversion, giving them a brand new set it down. 2 minutes to go, and this is looking like an L to start off the season, going 0 for 1 unless something magical happens here where we can take something to the house. Free rusher, and it didn't work out in our favor. They were still able to go and secure themselves a number of yards, looked like maybe 5 or 6. They give them 7, and that's Jordan Jenkins. So that makes 2 linebackers on both sides as they make the conversion, and that pretty much seals our fate. Jordan Jenkins picks up his first tackle in the fourth quarter, and Ja'Kai Polite picked up his first in the third. So they have pretty much been non-existent on the edges for us. Trying to run, make some maneuvers. He was almost able to shift to the outside before we were able to bring him down. And at this point, it's just a matter of watching this clock burn out. Leonard Williams gets in there. LaShawn McCoy probably going to end with about 60 yards or so. Leonard Williams getting his first tackle of the season. And that lets you know who's all been able to really make a mark on things. Been pretty much CJ Mosley and Jamal Adams. Quentin Williams, again, though, did pick up his first sack of the season. And it was on a pretty strong play, so I can't complain too much about it. And they're pretty much just going to go into victory formation and in the pain and suffering of this very tumultuous start to what could be a very dire season for us. I'm just hoping it's not career franchise lows and anything, pretty much. Let's quickly take a look at what our stats ended up looking like. Darrelle Revis, we can't secure him a win in his first game as head coach, but we knew this was going to be rough, so ownership has already given him a pass. At least we can say that we finished respectably in the passing department. So taking a look at both players, you can see they essentially had the same amount of opportunities. Josh Allen's able to connect on just a few more, 252 yards versus 242. He also throws 2 instead of 1. And that was actually our kicker that threw that beautiful pass to Herndon. So kudos to him. He's on the board for us. In the rushing department, we get a whopping 11 yards. That is terrible anytime that the only player to finish above or at 1 yard per carry is the fullback, and that was a little bit of a stroke of luck. Only 1 broken tackle, so that's another concerning factor for us. We weren't able to break free too much. Quincy Enunwa and Elijah McGuire lead the way. 6 catches apiece, 59 yards is the tops for the season debut. Jamison Crowder had to leave early. We'll have to check his status. Robbie Anderson, not much of a factor. Trick play with Christopher Herndon. And then Deontay Burnett, he did serviceable for us for the first game. So I'm looking forward to what he might be able to continue to do. We give up 4 sacks. During the first game, Brandon Leonard giving up 1, but he's having to overcompensate on both his left and right side. Defensively, Marcus May, C.J. Mosley, Blake Cashman leading the way, so it's nice to see that at least our second line of defense is pretty much the top 3 of our tackling here. C.J. Mosley in the backfield a bit, Leonard Williams on his only tackle, Quinnen Williams, Ja'Kai Polite, and then Brandon Copeland. I thought Quinnen got his sack. I might have been confusing him with Jamal Adams, Troy Polamalu like play. So actually, Quinnen Williams has a little bit of a quiet debut. 4 tackles, one of them do come in for a loss though, and we didn't get any interceptions. So a little sad to see. Oh, that must be recent. I wasn't getting into match surveys before. Um, Little sad to see how things ended for us, but overall, I mean, did we really have major expectations for the season? I think we know that's an obvious no. So, 2 injuries in the debut. Darrelle Revis is going to be out for 8 weeks with a dislocated hip, and Jamison Crowder for 5. Um, I think we're going to leave these be right now. If we pick up any more injuries, then we'll have to place at least one of them on injured reserve. Now, with Robbie Anderson, we've seen how his debut went. Of course, if we put Quincy No in the first, where he's going to face different competition from cornerback ones, there's no guarantee that he'll be able to continue to be a solid possession receiver. However, it might be better to go ahead and try to get as much of a return as we can on him before his stock drops. I think we might try to give it another game or 2 first. The trick with these I found out is if you disregard whoever the potential player is going to be, the outcome ends up just being that you have to win against that team, and then you'll be able to get the additional experience. So that's pretty much all I really do for those. We'll focus on our 3 guys here. Short pass stick, long as at least one of them for the quarterback, that's fine. And we're going to stick with this where we can continue to focus on the defensive line and the DBs. One of the things I also noticed is that he was doing 5'10 in the preseason, and prior to the switch to end, and now he's getting 420. So that's something I might have wanted to take into account. We do get some upgrades. Terrence Brook, +2 tackle. Press doesn't really do anything too much as a safety for him, but he'll continue to be serviceable for us. Probably should have put it into some coverage traits for him, but uh, that's pretty much a wrap. Once again, though, I'm gonna, but definitely on Sundays as well. That way we can try to get to the off season as soon as possible. I might even potentially try to do this nightly between 10 and 10:30. With that said, it's all going to kind of depend on when my son decides to try to go down for the night. Um, Other than that, though, I'm really just ready to kind of see how we can continue to progress. I want to see quickly if there's any injuries the Ravens are dealing with. I just feel like that might make them a little bit more willing to cough up Orlando Brown because as he continues to develop, it's only going to get crazier what they're willing to accept for him. But they have no injuries. So with that said, thank you guys for checking it out. I look forward to if I find time streaming tomorrow. If not, then we'll definitely get back to it Wednesday where we will be facing the Browns in our second home game of the season. With that said, I'm out. Peace.